Hello and welcome to Y Media's exclusive interview. I'm your host Ramona Singh, and I have Brampton West NDP candidate NAVJIT KAUR in studio with us to talk to us about this election cycle where Ontarians will choose a new government come June 2nd. How are you, NAVJIT?
I'm good, Ramona. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. Now, well, tell me about yourself. Who is NAVJIT KAUR when she's not a political candidate?
You know, I just want to kind of say, my name is NAVJIT KAUR. I'm your NDP candidate for Brampton West. I've actually lived in Brampton my entire life. I was born and raised here. I've come from immigrant parents, just like any other Bramptonians here. They, their parents work really hard to make sure they got the education that they needed. And I'm a proud respiratory therapist, a healthcare worker for 12 years, and a mother of 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are your children?
So 6, 4, and 5 months.
How has this experience been like for you, being a mother, being a professional in the healthcare industry, and then getting into politics, and especially as a woman in politics?
That's a great question. As a mom, it's definitely very tough. But it reminds me of the things I'm fighting for. As a healthcare worker, we've seen that it was really hard during these last 2 years, during the pandemic, where healthcare workers were leaning on each other to find the support that we needed. We didn't have the resources, and it makes me stronger as a person to fight for the things that we need in Brampton. And as a woman, it is definitely something that it was challenging, but definitely has made me stronger. I advise a lot of women, make sure you can stand up for the things that you believe in, be strong, be confident, because we all have a space in politics.
And how is it like being in Brampton West? You ran there before, so are people recognizing you at the door, and what's the reaction you're getting?
Definitely, a lot of people are recognizing me. They're, when we're walking down the streets, a lot of people, hey, NAVJIT, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. But they're definitely asking, hey, it's been about a couple of years. We haven't, you ran federally, and I was working again back in healthcare during the time of the pandemic. And I think a lot of people can relate that, hey, you've been in the community, you're just not in politics, but you're around in the community, working around the clock. And especially like my parents, my dad is a taxi driver, my mom is a factory worker, so I can relate to a lot of people for that.
Okay, and tell us how life in Brampton will be different with an NDP government come June 2nd.
Yeah, June 2nd, it's election day. We definitely want everyone to go vote. But the things that we want to change in Brampton is our healthcare system. If we really look down in our healthcare system, we have one hospital for 700,000 people. And as a healthcare worker, I can definitely relate to that. We did not have the resources that we needed to make sure we saved all the people that we needed to. Brampton has one of the most frontline essential workers. You see, we have so many factory workers, taxi drivers, and truckers who were at the front lines, who got COVID, and they're the one who we lost. Definitely was very, very hard.
Yeah, and what are some of the other things that the NDP will do when it comes to, when you just mentioned truckers, this new idea of the 407 being free for truckers? How soon can that happen, and what does that mean for other commuters?
As a mom of 3, I totally understand that there is a gridlock issue in Brampton. From going from point A to point B, it takes a really long time. So commuters, it's taking them a long time. We've had Doug Ford for 4 years, and he talks about 413, that it's going to take 10 years to build. And we all know he has a history of canceling things, just like the university in 2018. And it's going to cost $10 billion. NDP actually has a plan to tackle this situation immediately. So making sure we get 12,000 to 21,000 truckers off the roads in the 400 series onto 407 for free. So that would help the truckers also, but also the commuters of our everyday lives.
Affordability has been a crisis with inflation at 6.8%. Things do not seem to be reducing in price when it comes to cost of food, gas, just everyday living. What is the NDP plan to be able to tackle affordability?
Yeah, when we talk about affordability, when I'm going door knocking, there's a lot of people that are talking about gas prices, hydro prices, auto insurance rates, one of the top priorities that people are talking about. We have one of the highest auto insurance rates in Ontario, and Bramptonians are complaining that, hey, look, we go to a different city, our rates are decreased. And why is it that Brampton's paying one of the highest? NDP, even as opposition, they have been, fighting back against banning postal code discrimination. And people recognize that, we need to tackle this situation. And NDP has a plan to reduce auto insurance rates by 40% in banning postal code discrimination.
And how soon can that go into effect?
Yeah, so definitely we're going to be working with the government to get that done.
Okay, well that's very good. And now, what has been your experience on the ground now that you have an incumbent running and a Liberal candidate, which many analysts say that the Liberals, lost party status in 2018 and they're looking to gain some seats. So are you seeing that at the doors? Are you hearing any of that at the doors?
When I'm going door knocking, basically, a lot of people are kind of fed up with the Ford government. They're talking about that we need change in Brampton. We've had 4 years, and during this pandemic, we needed to talk about our healthcare crisis, tackle the healthcare crisis. We needed to lower auto insurance rates. We needed to talk about affordability, but Doug Ford has done nothing for that. And for the Liberal government, a lot of people they're saying that they'd had 15 years to do something, but they did nothing. And it's a lot of positivity, a lot of excitement that people do want change, and they do want the NDP government coming.
We do have an aging population, and so when you come across seniors at the doors or at events, what is the message you have for them?
Mm-hmm. I can definitely relate. I've lived with 4 of my grandparents all at once when I was younger. But the things that we talk about in Brampton as a community, we know there's multi-generations, and a lot of grandparents want to age at home, and it's very important for them, and especially their caregivers, their sons or daughters. So making sure that we provide money for our caregivers to stay at home is very important, and also the caregivers. I know a lot of seniors are talking about that. I want to stay at home. I don't want to be a burden to my son or daughter. So making sure we provide these services is very important. Also getting these PSWs and our nurses into the community is important. Yes, we have long-term care, but in Brampton, a lot of people do want to age at home, and we know seniors are happier at home.
And so given that you come from the healthcare industry, is that your main issue that you'd advocate for if you were to become MPP come June 2nd? So
it's actually one of the things I would advocate for. I know there's a lot of things. Healthcare is just very personal to me just because I am a healthcare worker. So it is very strong and I'm very passionate about that. But I do understand there's other issues we need to deal with. Like my dad, he was one of the frontline workers, and my mom was a factory worker. And I understand that life is getting unaffordable also. So healthcare, affordability, our auto insurance rate, these are definitely the things we want to tackle together as one.
Absolutely. Okay, so how do you feel about Andrew Horwath making so many announcements in Brampton? Do you feel like with the focus on Brampton seats, it's helping you?
I think I'm really excited that she understands the needs of Bramptonians. She understands Brampton has been neglected, and that we've had 4 years of the Doug Ford government. We still have this one hospital for 700,000 people. It's devastating to see that we had some of the most patient transfers to different local hospitals like Barrie or London, and families were split apart. She understands the needs, and that's why she came down today too. She made an announcement to end hallway medicine, making sure we got the 3 hospitals with the 3 emergency rooms is very important. But I think working with her, it's been so great. Even as a woman, she's actually taught me so much, and I admire her passion to make sure that we make a change for Brampton.
The NDP have come out with the policies on auto insurance to reduce it for drivers and the 407 for it to be free for truckers. What is the plan for transit riders?
Yeah, so making sure that we have proper transportation in Brampton is important too. So providing the structure, making sure we have the infrastructure for that also.
Okay, well that's great. And how are you feeling about the turnout of advanced polls? Are you seeing that a lot of your supporters have gotten already to vote, or what is the consensus at the doors? Mm-hmm.
So when we are going door knocking, a lot of people have voted, but we still want to encourage everyone to go vote. Every vote counts. Make sure your voices are being heard. It's very important that we talk about the things in Brampton. Make sure Brampton is not left behind.
Absolutely. So can you tell them about how long advance polls are open till, how the hours, the locations, perhaps the day on June 2nd?
So for Brampton West, advance polls are open till May 28th for all ridings, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. For Brampton West specifically, you can go to Cassie Campbell and go vote. If you don't have your voting card, you can bring your ID card with you and please go vote. I know a lot of people, they wait till the last minute. Sometimes they don't have time to vote, but definitely please make sure your voices are being heard, because we all understand we have so many issues that we need to tackle in Brampton, and that's important for us.
And how can people reach you if they have any questions or concerns?
So if you have any questions, concerns, we are located at 10794 Chinguacousy Road. So it's an intersection of Chinguacousy and Sandalwood. You can also reach us on Instagram or Facebook. Just look up NAVJIT KAUR NDP and you can definitely reach us there.
With just a week to go until Election Day, what are your plans?
Definitely, we're going to be working hard at the doors, interviews, radios, any advertising, we want to definitely go at that, but mainly talking to people is very important. I believe that, getting one-on-one with a lot of people is very important. Getting them to vote, pulling the votes is so important.
Absolutely. Do you have any final words to the audience?
Yes, I just want to say again, my name is NAVJIT KAUR, your NDP candidate for Brampton West. I'm a healthcare worker for 12 years. I definitely understand the healthcare crisis that we are in. I'm a mom of 3, and I understand the education system we have gone through. We've had Doug Ford for 4 years, and he has made cuts to education, healthcare, our banning. He actually blocked the bill to ban postal code discrimination. And then again, we have 15 years of the Liberal government, and they have done nothing. Basically, it's, the race is between NDP and the Conservatives right now. So we're kind of going head to head. Making sure that everyone votes is very important. Make sure your voices are being heard. Let's vote NDP.
Thank you so much, NAVJIT KAUR. She is the Brampton West NDP candidate joining us here at Y Media doing an exclusive interview. If you have any questions or concerns for her, you can always reach out to her. What's your social media?
NAVJIT KAUR NDP.
Perfect. NAVJIT KAUR NDP, that's on Facebook and
Facebook
Instagram?
and Instagram. And then we're also located on 10794 Chinguacousy Road is our office.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Until next time, stay well and take care.